Why are you drinking it like that? Stop. Really? What's up, you guys? It's your girl Kiya.
It's your boy Jalen.
And today, guys, we are back, and today we're going to be doing a movie review. As you guys know, we usually talk about Avatar: Last Airbender. We go over various Avatar theories and topics and things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, check out our other videos. But like I said, guys, we're going to be doing other things on this channel as well. And this is one of the things, just basically watching movies and doing reviews on them. So
don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
It's a little bit too early for that.
I mean, it's good to do it early in the video while they're watching.
Yeah, so the movie that we'll be reviewing today is Wonder Woman 1984. Alright, so this is a movie he did not want to see, okay? He is a Marvel fan. I am a DC fan. I like Marvel, but I just prefer DC. And
I don't know why everything sucks from DC except for their video games and their cartoon and their animations.
Yeah. I mean, I acknowledge that Marvel does things better, but I just prefer the characters and the heroes from DC.
They're the only ones who cover up their mistakes by just destroying a universe and making a new one.
Okay, you know what?
Like when they killed Flash. Everybody got mad, so they was like, you know what, let's just destroy the universe and start over. In the comment section, I bet every last one of y'all can name a completely different occasion where they destroyed the universe because they made a mistake.
You know what, we're just gonna
How
today we're gonna be discussing the Wonder Woman movie. And so I was excited to see it, he wasn't, but I'm excited to talk about it. We're both very excited to talk about it. So guys, this movie was over 2 hours. It was almost 3 hours long, okay?
Go ahead.
Anyways, so it's a pretty long movie. And it was a jam-packed movie. There's a lot going on in that movie.
Too much going on.
It's one of those type of movies where you have to watch it at least like maybe a few times, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times. Make sure that you have
Hold up. 3 times?
Because it's
2.5 times 3, Makaya. That's a lot of life, dog.
No, but I'm just saying that it's a lot going on. That is true. I'm just saying that.
That's 7.5 hours.
I mean, to your leisure. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot in that movie, and it's just like the first time you watch it, we only seen it once. But I feel like we'll have to watch it maybe another time to really see things that we probably missed in the movie, because it was so long and there was so much going on in that movie.
Listen,
but
DC is not Marvel. They ain't putting Easter eggs in there.
But anyways, starting off the video, first we're going to be talking about the plot.
There were so many. I mean, you got Wonder Woman dealing with her loss of Steve. Mm-hmm. You got a completely different storyline with Cheetah and her personal insecurities, as well as her issues with people around her, as well as the mental health issues that she has as well. You got Maxwell Lord, who also has mental health issues, and as well as a plot of his own as far as the direction that he's trying to go, which for some reason just flips out of control in some weird way. And then you have the stone is another plot point in there. And you have a bunch of different things like going on at once. Like it took usually when you watch a movie, the plot is like right in front.
Right. And
for this movie, the main plot was the stone. But we didn't see the stone till like 30 to 45 minutes in.
Yeah.
So
the movie seemed like it was taking a long minute, and there's so much stuff going on with the movie. Like, I know some of the critics were saying like the first part of the movie is nice to see Diana and kind of like that whole experience, but they're saying it's just kind of like it took up a lot of time. So it's just kind of like, well, okay, we get that, and then you get into the movie and it's kind of like you're trying to figure out, okay, so I forgot about what happened in the beginning because there's so much stuff going on right now, but now like how does that fit into what's going on? You really don't understand why that's there until really you just kind of like already basically at the end kind of.
Yeah, it's not giving context as to why it's there.
Yeah, so like it's kind of left up to you as the viewer to kind of put the pieces together. But I just feel like it didn't come together like how you expect like most movies to have. You know, like how it comes together like fully. I don't feel like we kind of got that full like
In a 2.5 hour movie, all of those plots should have been explained. But at the end of the day, only one plot was finished, and that was the stone. Like they set up a bunch of different plots, and then they were like, you know what? Let's just focus on the stone. And then by the end of the movie, you're like, where did Cheetah go? By the end of the movie, you forget that Steve was ever in the movie. And then by the end of the movie, I mean, apparently a big part of the plot was the kid, but like there's no emotional connection to the kid. You barely see the kid.
I mean, you feel bad for the kid because of what he's going through, like his dad. But like, it's just kind of like there's so many things going on. And you got like so many characters that, like, not gonna lie, like I really like how they kind of gave you like background information on the characters and like kind of got to know them and their background a little bit. Cause even with the dude, what's that dude name?
Maxwell.
Okay, so even with Maxwell, you kind of got like a glimpse into his past as to why he was like the way he was and why he needed to feel like he could why he was hungry for success and things like that. He didn't want to fail. He kind of wanted to prove all those people wrong that doubted him.
I mean, but even then, he just sort of came into the movie that way. They never explained why he was that way. Yeah, he was just that way.
Yeah, they didn't really explain it until later, until they started like showing like glimpses of like his, you know, how he grew up and his childhood and things like that. So, and like how he got to where he was. You kind of could sympathize with him a little bit. So I guess that kind of like helped because you kind of see like why he's doing what he's doing, even though it's wrong. And it's just kind of like, so you disregard other people who are in the same position as you, just to be selfish for your own, you know, like for your own, like, you know, success and things like that. I guess now that we have the plot down, we can talk about like the theme of the show, like the theme of the movie. I mean, I guess the message in the movie was just like there's no easy way out. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't take shortcuts and stuff like that because you always be giving something. You know, you give something up when you just decide to go like the cheap route. But if you actually like try yourself and you actually get there, I feel like it's more rewarding than cheating and trying to go like the short way. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to fight and go through all that like hardship rather than to just like cheat your way through it.
This was basically a really, really long episode of Full House. Except everybody in Full House had superpowers.
Yeah.
That's basically, if you enjoy Full House, if you enjoy the Goldbergs, where everybody learns a lesson.
Basically like a sitcom.
Yeah, it's like a 2 hour and 30-minute long sitcom with some fighting scenes in it.
Yeah, it's basically like it's a feel good movie, and like for the time that we're in right now with COVID and like a lot of things basically being put on pause for a lot of people, it's a really scary time for a lot of people, and I feel like in that way the movie is great. For like, and I think that's why a lot of people really like the movie. Like for people for like us or like other people who are like really into superheroes and stuff, we're like, well, what the heck is going on with this movie? I'm not really sure how to feel about it. But for people who maybe not like really familiar with like heroes and like comics, it's kind of like, okay, so we really like this movie because it makes us feel good. Like I like the message of the movie. Like I'm not saying I don't like the message, but I feel like it's really good for the time that we're in. But for it to be like a Wonder Woman movie and like kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like a superhero movie, it's just kind of like,
if you came to see Wonder Woman, you were disappointed.
Yeah, because I was kind of.
If you understand Wonder Woman,
yeah,
you were disappointed. If you came for a Christmas special, you left happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like watching a show, you know, like in a show when they kind of have like that one episode where it's just kind of like, it doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but it's like a episode that makes you feel good.
It's a Hallmark movie. It's a Hallmark movie where everybody has superpowers, is what it is. And you know what? The acting in the first half of the movie was very Hallmark-esque.
I agree.
It's enough to make a guy stay in their seat. Right? It's enough to make a comic person, a person who's into comics, stay in their seat because you know what? It's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It's Cheetah. And keep in mind, it wasn't even really Cheetah. We're going to get into that. It was Maxwell Lord. It was supposed to be a beast, right? And like...
Yeah, it's like one of those movies where I'm trying to see where exactly they're trying to go with it.
You have to keep watching to see what happens, but by the time the 2 hours and 30 minutes are up, you're like...
So how is this all feet? Like, what y'all gonna do with all this? How is it gonna feet? Like, what's you gonna do with all that? Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we learned a little bit more about Diana as far as like her struggles, like, you know, being immoral, and then also losing somebody that she loves and trying to cope with that, and also being lonely as well, like the lonely life that she lives. So you kind of get like that insider, like how her life is. So you kind of get a grasp of like of like maybe who she's gonna become and like why she became the way she became. So in that way, okay, but like for it to be like a long movie just to kind of express that, as well as introducing a new character like Cheetah, I feel like they didn't really do like, I don't know.
I'll put it like this: like they took a page out of the Amazing Spider-Man's book. Remember the Amazing Spider-Man series with the guy Garfield or whatever his name is? The first movie was very good. Everybody enjoyed it, but the second movie, it was just too much. You had Rhino in there for like a total of 5 minutes on the movie. You had Electro in there, and then you had the Green Goblin in there. You got all of this stuff going on at once. No characters really develop. Harry just sort of pops up. Harry Oswald, what's his name? Oswald or something like that. He just sort of pops up. Electro just sort of pops up and turns evil. And then you got you got Rhino in and out of prison for some reason. And you know, you got all of these Easter eggs from all. It's just too much going on. Too many plots being tossed up in the air. And then on top of that, in the second movie, he's also dealing with Gwen Stacy. Her dad died, and not wanting to be, you know, close to her because. So he's sort of dealing with the same emotional turmoil in the beginning as Wonder Woman's dealing with. And you got a bunch of this other crazy stuff happening at one time. And that's ultimately what, even though it was an entertaining movie, The Amazing Spider-Man felt as comic booky as it could be. They stuck as closely to it as they could, and you enjoyed watching the movie. It's just that at the end of the day, as a critic, as a comic book critic, it's like it's too much going on. All three of these characters could have gotten their own movie at some point, but instead you tried to throw them all into one movie, and you sort of ruined it. And that's sort of what happened here, except Wonder Woman committed the ultimate sin because she took two headliners and stuffed them into one movie. I'm sorry, but Maxwell Lord is not a side act. Cheetah is definitely not a side act. Those are two characters that need to be there in their own place. They can't play off of each other. You need one in the movie. One needs this movie, and the other one needs this movie. Yeah,
I'm really hoping that it will be one of those movies where you don't understand it now, but you'll understand it later.
There's nothing to understand later.
I'm just saying, I really hope that they have a plan as to how they're gonna have all this play out. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like they'll make another movie and it's kind of like, okay, so I understand why they put that in that movie. So then it starts to come together in that way. But right now, for me, I don't think it really makes as much sense. It really doesn't.
I think that would go with me. That would vibe with me if they hadn't shut the door on so many things.
Now, this part we're gonna go into the acting and character. So this is feeding right into what we're gonna talk about. So let's get right into it. So the next part, acting and characters. We'll talk about the acting first. I feel like that would be the shorter part. The acting for me was pretty mediocre. And
it wasn't mediocre.
It was a bit dramatic in some parts.
It was unbefitting of a movie that was supposed to be in movie theaters. That's what it was. It
was kind of like one of those Christmas movies you watch, and it's kind of like corny, but
it makes you cringe.
It was like it makes you feel good. Like it's a good vibey movie, but it's still kind of like cheesy in some parts. It's kind of like.
Marvel makes themselves look bad with things like this.
Like, I don't know how to feel about it. What's the weather like? How you like the weather down here?
It makes you feel weird. It's like, I sit up here and, I watch Spider-Man, and I watch Superman and Batman, which acting isn't amazing in itself, right? But, and you watch all of these movies and you're like, wow, at least the acting is decent. And then every now and then, like in Justice League, you got Cyborg, which we'll get into the CGI later. Right? And then you get the Wonder Woman 1984. Which encompasses all the horrible, all of the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly of all the past movies, and rolls them into one.
I've never seen anything quite like it, to be quite honest. I've never seen, like, of course you have, like,
man.
you have Spider-Man Homecoming, and it's kind of like, okay, you can tolerate it because you understand why the vibe is the way it is. You understand why the energy is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
For Wonder Woman, first of all, I'm like, Wonder Woman, you are in rare form. I've never, because you watched the first movie, right? And it's kind of like, in the second movie, she's like in a she's different. You get like a different side of her. I guess like a more playful, I guess fun Wonder Woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just like, it just felt kind of corny. And I know some people were saying it was like a really cliche at some moments. And so that's how I feel. I don't feel like the acting was the best in the movie.
Especially in the first, like,
it was
hour. And I was so disappointed in Pedro Pascal. I was really disappointed because I've seen him in The Mandalorian and I've seen him in a couple of his other projects, and I was like, oh, Pedro Pascal is in this movie. Remember I said that? I was like, oh, it's about to be good. Remember I said that? And then I see him in the first 30 minutes. I'm like,
who are you?
That's the best you can do?
Yeah.
And then I look at Kristen Wiig, who I'm a huge fan of from SNL and everything, and all of the projects that I'm a huge fan. And I'm like, that's like, the best you can do? And Gal Gadot comes into this movie. We've seen her in the past Wonder Woman movies. And I'm like, oh, so surely Wonder Woman's gonna be Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I thought, and then it wasn't.
And then you got this weird wink, like, 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 what is that?
Get your daughter, please.
Like, and keep in mind, there was only like 2 black people in this movie. The diversity was horrible. It was like maybe 2. I count 3. There was one guy who showed up on screen, like 2 guys who showed up on screen for like 2 seconds, a split second, like a camera passing. And you had the black dude with the dreads, and you had the child. And those are the only, like, the diversity was horrible.
I think I was kind of done with the acting when I saw how Diana had made that dramatic exit when she had to leave her mans. Y'all know which scene I'm talking about. I know y'all was cracking up. Y'all seen that scene. We could have been the only ones laughing.
Oh, man.
She was so dramatic. I was like, who are you?
And
You're not.
And there was like no emotion when, like, you didn't see him poof. All you see is behind the wall just to go. Like, you see some dust pop out from behind the wall.
I'm like, are you sure he disappeared?
You know?
She just leaving, just like, I'm gonna take off.
And I'm trying to figure out, okay, did he disappear? Or did, like, he just, because keep in mind, that wasn't Steve. That was somebody else's body.
But we all forgot that, didn't we?
First of all, that's creepy.
So what do you have to say about some of the characters, though? Because I know we have a lot to say about Cheetah.
Oh, man. I was so disappointed. I was so hurt about Cheetah.
Yeah. So I guess, like, for me, I'll start off with Cheetah. Okay, so before watching the movie, I had to look up and actually see, like, learn more about Cheetah before I actually went in and watched it. So I looked at a video. I'll put it down below if you guys are interested in learning about Cheetah. So I'll show you guys the one that I looked at.
I went through fandom.com, dc.fandom, which is one of the main authorities on all things DC. I didn't need to research Cheetah prior to this movie. And I knew that origin story had nothing to... They made a whole new Cheetah.
Yeah, I mean, I took some notes and jotted some stuff down, but what was kind of familiar with the comic and with the movie is that she was still working with artifacts. So like, but the only difference is that she was working with the Pentagon. So she's first of all, she's already a villain. So she already has like a few other aliases that she uses, as who she is, whatever. So basically, like, what she tells people how she got her abilities because she accidentally cut herself on an artifact, which was like a sword or something like that. But the reality
had nothing to do with that stupid rock that was in the movie. Yeah,
and the reality is that she was actually in a cult.
A cult.
She's from a cult, and so
a cheetah cult.
The people were dedicated to the hunt. So basically, what happens is that she has to hunt and kill her brother. She hunts, kills her brother. Then from there, she has to find a sword or a knife. I think it was like a knife. And so she uses that knife. She takes it back, and they're like, okay, so you've been chosen to take on this avatar of this, this spirit or this entity. So in order for her to do that, she has to get rid of her morals. And the way that she does that is she pierces her heart with that knife. And when she does that, poof, she's Cheetah. So if you guys have already seen the movie, compare that storyline to how they came about, like how they presented her character in this Wonder Woman movie. Do you feel like it got the justice that it deserved?
Absolutely. It did not. We don't even need to ask the question. It didn't, because the origin story wasn't Cheetah's origin story. Her connection to Diana or to Wonder Woman was not her connection in the comics to Diana. They made it up. They invented this. And you know what? The invention sucked. Because you know what? She says she wants to be Diana, right? But half of her attributes are different than Diana's. I think that, and they didn't even magnify the fact that Cheetah is more powerful than Wonder Woman is. Wonder Woman should not have beaten Cheetah in that fight. The last time they fought one-on-one, Diana, or Wonder Woman, needed help. Because Cheetah almost killed her. So they did not, and then on top of that, there's so much deeper. It's her storyline is so much deeper. They didn't even hint at the fact all of a sudden she just shows up being extremely fast. Right. They don't know that she had a level of super speed, but she didn't become extremely fast, like as far as like, you know, crazy fast until she trained with Zoom. People don't know that. Like, there's a whole like dimension to who Cheetah is that just sort of gets left out. There's no justice, right? They don't know she's fierce and heartless. Like, I mean, there's no mercy whatsoever, and like she didn't get any justice as a character, and her story and her backstory sucked. It was horrible. Her backstory fit into the narrative that they were trying to push, but it wasn't Cheetah's backstory.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The way they did the storyline, it makes sense as to like, okay, so you asked for something, you made a wish, and this is the price. The price for her was her humanity. She had to give up her humanity in order to become this person that she, you know, who she became.
Which is sort of in line with her storyline, where she had to kill her brother and she had to stab herself. Like, that's, you know, that sort of goes in line with that, but it's still not her storyline. What they need to do is reboot her. And the unfortunate part about her having to be rebooted is Kristen Wiig might lose her job. Because of their bad script writing. And we haven't even gotten to the script. The script was horrible. It was very bad, and it didn't feel flowy. It felt fake, saying all these the conversation didn't feel normal. It didn't feel flowy, right? And I think that's what messed up Kristen Wiig. And when I found out Kristen Wiig was supposed to be Cheetah, I was excited, and she can attest that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I think she's perfect for the part, and I still believe that she's perfect for the part. But for comic book lovers who know Cheetah and didn't get that Cheetah, unfortunately, it reflects bad on her performance. Even though it wasn't her performance that messed up that character, I think a lot of that had to do with the directors and the script writers. And also the storyline that sort of went behind Cheetah. I believe that she suffered. I also believe that Cheetah should have had her own movie. I said yesterday after we watched it, I said Marvel would have been smart about this. Marvel would have showed her like they showed her in the beginning, in small parts, having her show up and leave. Sort of inside the movie, but not inside the movie. Yeah,
they showed her a little bit too much. They gave up a little bit too much information on her up front.
Exactly.
To really like see what direction they're gonna go with her.
Exactly. I think that the storyline that they had for Cheetah for the movie would have worked if they hadn't included her as a villain inside of the movie. I think if they had left her, moved her in, and used her like sort of like how they did, but not made her a front running character, like a back end character. And she sort of just disappears throughout the movie. We don't see her much. And then at the end, like in a cutscene, you see where everybody else renounces her wish. She still has her wish. So we see her in the form of a cheetah, right? That would make sense. Even though they changed the origin story and it's not her origin story, at least we're anticipating Cheetah. I think at least we're saying, oh yeah, Cheetah's coming in the next movie. I'm excited for the next movie because we're gonna see Cheetah. And it's sort of like a situation where you can build on her. You can actually develop her character as opposed to just throwing her in.
But like, I'm trying to figure out how they're gonna come back from this, from what they've done. Because I mean, at the end, you see Cheetah. She's pretty much in her human form. So it's kind of like, well, is she so she's not Cheetah anymore. And if that's the case, is she gonna become Cheetah again? And if so, how? So my guess is, if she did decide to renounce her wish, like, does she like go on like a hunt to figure out how she can get that power back again? And then doing that, does that make her a darker character? You know what I'm saying? Like like the dark character that she originally is, and she becomes Cutthroat. She becomes like that character that we were familiar with. So I'm wondering if that's the direction they're gonna go in. I don't know how they're gonna really take that. Honestly, it's just like, I feel like they put too much of her in the movie. I feel like that's probably where they messed up.
I think that Maxwell Lord deserved his own.
Yeah, I feel like
movie as well.
I feel like the plot, as far as how he went, I feel like that was pretty good. I like how they went about how he did things in the movie, and it was good. I just feel like adding Cheetah in there wasn't necessary.
I disagree about Maxwell Lord.
I feel like it would have been a good movie. It was just between Wonder Woman and him,
or Wonder Woman and Cheetah.
Yeah, but the fact that they mashed all three of them together, I feel like it was a bit much. It would have been nice just to get glimpses, but I feel like like I said before, I think they added her in there too much. I feel like they added too much of Cheetah.
When you read through specifically Maxwell Lord, you don't find anything about that stupid stone. So there's two things in the movie that we see that we don't find in his profile: that rock and a son. He didn't have a son. He had 2 ex-wives, a dad and a mom, no son. So where do you get the son idea from?
And who is the son? Because I was talking to him, I was just like, okay, so I'm watching this movie, and it seems like there's something about this son, like maybe he's gonna come up later, like when he's older, not in the movie, but like maybe later in a future movie. But I'm like, but who is he? Like, who is he supposed to be? But like, even with that, the problem that I had with Lord's character is just the fact that, like, where is his character going now? So we know, is he a good guy now? Like, and if he is a good guy, is he still gonna be low-key bad?
And they made him this uber sensitive character in the movie.
Yeah, the problem is they watered down the characters too much.
They made this movie a movie that's PG to PG-13. And I can see why, but I mean, you can take a movie with characters that are rated R and mellow it down to PG-13.
Right.
And that's sort of what they did with Venom. Venom was a movie that may be a little bit scary for kids, I guess, but it was a movie that kids can watch. But it didn't take away fully the essence of who Venom was. We didn't see Venom in the forms that we saw him in the comics. He wasn't like that Venom, but he was still Venom, right? In these movies, Cheetah was not Cheetah, Maxwell Lord was not Maxwell Lord. And Maxwell Lord, I don't think people realize this. When you get a chance, look up Maxwell Lord. This dude's resume is thick. He was more tantalizing of a villain than Lex Luthor. And a lot of people don't realize this, but he's responsible for he single-handedly destroyed split up the Justice League. Single-handedly split Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman up completely. He martyred himself and turned the city against the Justice League. Single-handedly. Dead. He did this dead. Did what no other villain in the Justice League could do. But they watered him down to being a dad, which he wasn't, who is uber sensitive. This man cried like 3 times in the movie. Yeah, and that's just not who Maxwell Lord is.
Yeah, like I said, they watered the characters down a lot. They definitely, I feel like they made him way more sensitive. Cause like, even like if you watched it, it's hard to take him seriously, which is one thing I didn't like about this script, is because the script was so corny. Like, it was like, I'm not a loser, you know, like I want you to be proud of me, I'm not a loser, you're a loser, like, you know what I'm saying, like, what the heck, like, what? It was just kind of corny, and it's hard to really, like, it's like, bro, like, what? And I'm trying to be scared of you.
And so ultimately, the powers that he obtained was sort of similar to the ones that the stone gave him in the movies. He couldn't make wishes come true. That's not, which I think is weird. It's a little weird, but he could control the minds of other people. But the effect that controlling the minds of other people had was the same that it had in the movie. As far as the nose bleeding and different things like that.
He had to basically, it took a toll on his head. Which is one thing you said before, is that they never really explained why it is that he was having those issues, and then the fact that he just snapped his fingers and said, you know what, I'm fixing my health, and now all of a sudden he's healthy again, like he's not experiencing
that issue anymore.
He used other people's wishes to be able to gain that health though, or like.
And even then, like, he became the stone, right? So the stone can make wishes for itself.
I think he was able to kind of like, now that he is the stone, it's kind of like he can kind of write his own, like, you know.
Yeah, he can have. I mean, he can get people to make wishes for him, but even still, the rules of the stone were never established. We saw one wish, you get one wish, but then we saw Cheetah make 2 wishes.
Yeah, so
right?
Like, that's one thing. Like, she was a human once. She told him what it is she wanted, which is kind of weird how she said it anyway. Number 1, apex predator. Like,
yeah.
What? What is that? Where you even come from with that? But like, regardless of that, she pops up out of nowhere, and then boom, she's Cheetah. But like, you already made a wish, so where in the middle happened to where she was able to become Cheetah? Did somebody else wish for her to become Cheetah, or how did that work?
All the DC movies that have come out, none of their villains are memorable.
Yeah.
They're like, none of them are memorable. You don't sit and think, like, you like, oh, what was that villain's name? Oh, Steppenwolf. Like, even though Steppenwolf was a beast, you be like, Ares. Even though Ares was one of Wonder Woman's most powerful, was one of her most powerful foes, but yet you have to sit there and struggle to remember who the heck is Maxwell Lord. Some people think when that came up, who the heck villain is this? Because I mean, I
guess that's like one thing I don't really. That's why I really like. Well, one of the things I really like about DC is the villains, because the villains are so hardcore. It's just kind of like, yo, they actually like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like they're pretty raw in that way. And so like, when you watch a movie where you're expecting some of these villains to make an appearance, it like sucks, because it's kind of like they definitely like, what are you doing with them? Like, that's not like the villain that we're familiar with. Like, what is that? So like, for me, it's just kind of like, DC movies could be so much better if they could stay true to like the characters.
People enjoy like, the comics. We love the comics. Stay true to the comic.
Not even just staying true to the like comics, but make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it to where we remember these people. We want to see them more. We want to see them again. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like, even with like the Marvel movies, they're really good with developing like characters and things like that. And the villains in the movies are just kind of like, even though you don't really know like much background information on a lot of like the villains in Marvel, they're memorable.
It's like they rush it. They rush everything. And the villains, they made the villains memorable. Even Loki, the villain, Loki got developed. He was developed as a character as to who he was. Loki was developed so well as a villain. When he died in Infinity War, you actually felt like, oh my gosh, even though he was a villain, your heart broke. It was like, dang, they just killed Loki.
Yeah, like I said, I took a course in class, so we pretty much watched Marvel movies the whole time. We would basically just like analyze each movie when we watched it. And so like, for me being a DC fan, I'm gonna admit, like, the Marvel movies, it really gets you, like, you really actually learn, you actually like, you understand the characters. And so like, when they have movies where they bring all the characters together, you feel that energy, because you understand each and every one of them, and like their journeys and their past.
And you understand why they butt heads. Like, you're looking at like, Aquaman comes in and he's butting heads with everybody for what reason? What messed me up with DC, like, you know, I enjoyed DC before they started putting out movies. It was the movies that they put out that really, like, the Man of Steel series that did it for. I was done with Superman after that. After the Man of Steel series. Batman, I wasn't sold on Ben Affleck as Batman after that first movie. And Justice League really just made me like, I'm done with DC, period. Like, I don't like DC anymore. And that unfortunately, that's what's happening to a lot of fans who are actually fans of the comics and fans of the animations of DC. Right? They're impatient. It's like they're like goldfish. Like, I'm focused on this for 3 seconds, and then 3 seconds later, it's like a jet, invisible jet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
and honestly, it kind of flew over my head at first with the whole flying jet thing. So I was just kind of like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't really that, like, I didn't think about the fact that they actually included the invisible jet until after, when we were talking about it. I was like, oh, that's
not to mention,
true.
It was there for a whole 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was there for a whole 5 minutes, and then you never see it again.
Yeah.
It was never used again.
So how'd you feel about special effects? The CGI could have been way better in a lot of the parts. it was definitely like one of the older movies where they're just grasping like new, like how to really like
experimenting.
Yeah, it just like it looked like it was supposed to come out like maybe 10-15 years in the past. Like that's how I don't feel like the CGI was the best in the movie. I feel like
it wasn't close to the you're being nice by saying it wasn't the best. It was bad, Micaiah.
Yes,
for today's standards, it was bad.
Compare that to like other like movies that are similar, like Marvel movies.
Micaiah, for today's standard, it's bad.
It is, and if you look at Marvel movies, you compare the two, it's just like that's pretty terrible.
I mean, you connect. I mean, like Justice League was bad. Justice League CGI was bad. Cyborg was horrible, and where it looked like a video game, and it wasn't even an Xbox video game. It was a PlayStation 3 video game. That's what it was.
Yeah, like I feel like the CGI just need to be better, period. Like, but like when you first do the intro where you going up to the thing, they kind of show you like the arena. It just kind of like, that is where I actually saw, I was like, the movie just started and I'm already seeing like how bad the CGI is. Like it wasn't the best. It was just kind of like.
And the worst part is that it was worse than the first Wonder Woman movie.
But yeah, that's pretty much how we feel about the movie. It could have been better. So if you had to rate this movie 1 through 10, what would you rate it?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll give it a 3 because the message was great, but but considering the script, the acting, the storyline, and it's a 3. It's a 3 for me. A 3 to a 4 maybe. I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.
I'm like 5 or 6.
You giving it over a 5?
I'll give it a 5. And the reason I'm giving it a 5 is because, like he said, I like the message. And also for what the movie probably could be or what it might be headed towards.
We don't judge based off of potential because they don't never do what they say they're gonna do in DC.
What he said, I mean,
she gets a score. You gave it a 5.
Yeah.
It gets a 9 out of 20.
I'm really curious to see where they're gonna go from here. I really am. So yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, since we're closing out, this is a brand called MI Uniques. So if you're interested in this, if you like it, definitely check it out. There's gonna be a launch on Friday, so if you like this, if you like the logo, there's like a lot of different stuff, a lot of different varieties, a lot of different colors, but it's really nice. Love it. I know I'm gonna be there Friday to get all my stuff, so if you guys are interested in that, check it out. I'll be linking it in the description box below.
She also has a men's line. I do got my share of clothes from her as well. Very stylish.
There's some for both men and women, so if you like this kind of stuff, if you like supporting, you know, clothing lines, like seeing what's out there, definitely check it out. And this stuff is really good quality too, just saying. But yeah,
the best of the best.
Best of the best. If you guys are new to the channel, hope you enjoyed it, and we're gonna be doing a lot more videos like this. Gosh, I need water.
I'll finish. So going forward, we're gonna do some different things. Gonna try out some different shows, different movies as well as they drop. Mostly probably gonna be DC, between DC and Marvel, doing some things like that. Just dibbling and dabbling in a bunch of different things. Disney Plus, HBO Max. We know we got some great shows. WandaVision dropping is gonna be dropping on Disney Plus. So there's gonna be a lot of different things to look at. You got Boba Fett that's gonna be dropping. Boba Fett is going to be dropping. You got the Ahsoka Tano show that's supposed to be dropping soon. So there's a lot of different things that are works that we're definitely going to want to talk about. We're Star Wars fans. We're Star Trek fans.
Oh, I love Star Trek. Star Trek Discovery.
You know, so I mean, we're going to be getting on that. So, you know, going forward, we're going to make sure we're going to dabble. But keep in mind, the Avatar The Last Airbender is our first love. It will be popping in.
And if they do come out that live action from Netflix, we will be doing a reaction. That would be a very special.
And it better not be no mess, because I will cut it off and write a bad review on Yelp.
I really hope that we'll have a good following by then, so that way we can actually do like a live. Because that's something that we really want to do. We want to do a live where we all can like kind of interact and have that experience, you know what I'm saying? So if you guys are interested in that, definitely subscribe, you know, all that. Comment, you guys, comment what you guys think, and definitely smash that like button and subscribe, guys, and stick around, join the fam, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video because we be coming with it. So peace out, y'all.
Deuces.